morning. This is Alea, and today we are dealing with elements of design. It is module 2 of the Craft to Cash introductory seminar, and I'm calling it an introductory seminar because we're going to cover a lot of material, but it's still just scratching the surface. There is a lot to creating a product and marketing a product, designing it, figuring out who your customers are. The object of our elements of design is to create a product that is viable, profitable, and long-lived. And then the other one, of course, that we've all heard about is eBay. eBay does require more work. So I don't really like when you're going for actually creating a real business, I don't so much recommend eBay, but for those people who are looking for kind of a quick thing, eBay is a way to go. And if you enjoy things like yard sales and even if you have a house full of stuff of your own that you're not using and that you know it's just taking up space and you'd like to get it out of your house, eBay is a way to do that. So there are 3 quick starts for the people who are just chomping at the bit, but I want to make some money now. Those are some ways that you can make some money now. But long term, we're going for a little bit different stuff. Okay. First of all, let's ask ourselves a couple of questions about succeeding. We want to create a endeavor that is enjoyable and that lends itself to being a life rather than a job. And the I define job is working for somebody else. So you're doing something because that's what you're doing and that's what you have to do and that's just the way it is and oh well. And you're not real excited about it. You're not very, you know, it's just not, it's not something that makes you jump up and down. So that's a job. A career can be working for yourself. But again, it is work. But you're self-employed, so you're your own boss. But you're doing it for the money. You're doing it because it pays you and because you have to. But if you had another choice, you would, I don't know, be on a trip to the south of France or something, but you certainly wouldn't be doing what you're doing. That's what a career is. And that's how I define career. A calling is something that you do for joy. And so no matter what else is going on the planet, no matter what else is going on in your life, you're going to want to do this thing because you just can't help yourself. You've got to do it. And the people who fit the description of calling are usually artists and writers, painters, and the people who are just kind of like zipping along and doing stuff just because they can't help themselves. And what I would like to do with this class is to help you to discover what your calling is so that your career becomes something that you do because you just so love doing it you can't do anything else. And once you discover what that is, you know, you will want to do it and you won't be able to separate work from play, which is a good thing. A lot of people say, oh, I work all the time, but they're making it a bad thing because they're working all the time because they need the money or because they're workaholics or whatever. But then there are people who work all the time because it doesn't seem like work. So what we want to do is the one that people who work all the time, it doesn't seem like work, the calling. And that's kind of what I do. There's occasions where I'm dealing with a career, but most of the time it's the calling. I just do it because this is what I like doing. Now, occasionally I'll get bogged down, and everyone does. Even when you're doing the calling, you sometimes get bogged down. You know, you get more on your plate than you know what to do with, and everything's kind of piled up. And So for a minute there, you're kind of spinning your wheels. But all in all, you're enjoying what you're doing. So the questions that we need to ask ourselves to succeed is, first of all, what is your concept? And then once you decide what your concept is, your second thing is, who is your customer? And I'm gonna kind of, if I jump over this, please back me up and remind me to really go into depth on this who is your customer thing, because a lot of people do the shotgun effect. They just kind of like, throw it out there. Oh, the world is my customer. Well, you can't have the world for your customer and serve well. You got to kind of pick a niche. It'll bleed over, but you got to pick a niche. You got to pick one little group that you're sort of appealing to more than anybody else. Once you figured out what your customer is, then your next thing is, what is your design? How are you going to design your product or your service in order to appeal to that customer and whoever the bleed out is from that customer? And then what do you need to create? What does it look like? Can you hold it in your hand, or is it? Yes, what do you need to create? And then once you know what you need to create, it's what is the packaging going to look like and where you're going to market it. So those are the things that we're going to look at overall throughout the course. So now we've come full circle. Can you look at what your product is and answer these questions? The question is, how do we protect our idea once things are up and running? You are afraid that someone else will take the same idea and try to duplicate what it is that you're doing. Competition is always a possibility. I would not allow, if I were in your shoes, I would not allow it to stop me. There's McDonald's and there's Burger King. They both do well. And so, they actually both sell almost the same thing. But no one is going to be able to do your product as good as you do, or your service as well as you do, with the finesse that you have. Remember that you're looking at meeting a basic customer need, satisfying that need, whether or not the customer asks, and achieving their customer's delight. If you can do those things, they will come back to you over and over and over again. Even if somebody else picks up your idea and tries to do the same thing, they will continue to come to you. They recognize the original.